A month ago, I gave you guys a poll about this furniture transformation for this console, and you chose the color white or whitewash. Those were the highest percentages. So remember, a couple of years ago, I did it in navy blue, and then I spray painted the hardware. I'm seeing white. Yes, white. It's time to transform this piece. Let's go ahead and go to work. I begin by removing the hardware and placing it in a Ziploc bag. Every screw and every nail is in a Ziploc bag. In this video, I'm using citrus strip. It comes in a gel and in a paste. This time around, I'm trying the paste and I'm loving it. I am applying the paste with one of those little tiny brooms that you get from the Dollar Tree. I love it. You just dip it into the paste and just wipe it on. Wipe it on lightly, guys. It's very potent, but the smell is not that strong. I'm working in the garage with the windows open as well as the doors of the kitchen, and the fan is running and everything. So there's good circulation around me. I'm also wearing a mask. Keep in mind, a little does a lot when it comes to using this paste. There's no point to lather it on because only the part that's touching the surface is working for you. Whether you are using the gel or the paste, the instructions are exactly the same. You can put it on for 30 minutes to 24 hours. Now, you want to make sure that you don't let it dry on the surface. I mean, yeah, it will scrape off, but sometimes that's a little more labor than you intend to put in it. I like to scrape off using the plastic scrapers at first, because if the wood is really soft, you don't want to make any indentations. The metal scraper, if I'm sure the wood is pretty solid, even with this chemical being used on it. But again, I don't dig into the wood. I'm very careful about that. So just make sure you proceed with caution with all of your protective gear. That's your protective eyewear, your gloves, your mask. Even though there isn't a powerful odor, you just want to protect yourself just to be on the safe side. The first time I painted this piece, it was gray, and I must have applied at least 6 coats of paint. And then I painted over that with the navy. So there were at least 3 more coats of paint. The majority of those coats was on the top. So yeah, I had to apply the citrus strip twice to the top. Here is what the drawers look like after sitting with the citrus strip on them for 4 hours. I'm using my metal scraper to get into those corners really easy. But look how easy the paint just moves and lifts right off. Once again, you leave it on for 30 minutes to 24 hours. I had to run some errands. That's why I did the 4 hours. Now, wood is sensitive when you are stripping it, so I don't like to keep adding any chemicals. So I did take a damp t-shirt and I wiped away the paint that would just easily rub off. The paint that's being removed is being placed inside a paint can that has a small Ziploc bag. I leave that open the entire time that I'm doing my project, and it actually dries up before I place a lid on it and put it into the trash. But you let it stay exposed to air, whether you're sitting it outside in the porch area, and it just dries up. You don't want to leave any harmful chemicals closed up like that. So again, just put it someplace, your cloths, your towels, whatever it is that you're using, let them just completely just air dry and then dispose of them. And you guys have been writing to me for years about stripping furniture and how you see a lot of us, we jump to the end and start painting. Well, I really wanted to take my time for your sake so that you would get all of the details. So continuing onward with the stripping, you see how easy it is to remove the paint. You guys know that I don't really like putting a lot of chemicals around me, so I'm trying to be very careful. Once I got this paint off of here, the very next step that I took was taking some steel wool to remove any stubborn paint, because I felt like there was enough of chemicals on there and I wanted that wood to breathe a little bit. So wood is porous, so it does absorb things that you place on it, and it can affect your paint color. So I definitely kept that in mind when I was stripping the furniture. I also removed the old paint from the back of the piece. It was flaking off, so I didn't want to take any chances since I was giving the look an update. I just removed that as well. And yes, that's one of those Dollar Tree spatulas. I like to cut the steel wool into smaller pieces. It's so manageable that way to get into those smaller crevices and corners. I am so happy to have this beautiful fall weather. It's comfortable out here and there's a little breeze coming through the windows. I am so relaxed working on these projects. It's like therapy. And once you've gotten off all of your stripping gel or paste, whichever one you decide to use, then you want to wipe down the piece with mineral spirits, also known in the South as turpentine. Just wipe it down completely. This helps that stripping agent that you put on there basically to lose its power, even if it has any left after sitting on the piece for a couple of days. I also follow up with a Murphy oil soap bath. That's my preference, and I know some may feel differently about this, but that's my preference. Just take a quarter cup of Murphy oil soap and add it to a gallon of water and just give the piece a gentle wash. I feel like this reduces any potential problems with any chemicals lurking around, whether it's going to be activated by paint or varnish. I just like to do this, and then I also wait a couple of more days just to make sure that we are good to go before I add a varnish or a paint. That's just my preference. You can do what you want. Now look closely. You can still see a little bit of varnish still hanging on, but that's okay because I'm going to paint the piece. I have a cup of water and my paint sitting here. I like to dip the tip of the brush into the paint and then into the water, and then I apply it to my piece and back and forth. You don't want to have to drag your paint across your furniture. You want it to glide across. So I've been doing this for a long time now. I just like to keep the paintbrush moist. If you want to use a spray bottle, that's perfect too. Just keep the moisture there so that you can get that paint on smooth. And that will also help you if you don't have a sander. A lot of people like to sand chalk paint and some don't. I prefer not to, but in this case I did do the top just to make sure it was nice and smooth. So all you have to do is spray the paintbrush and then dip it into the paint before you apply it to the surface. Now I also have the round, big, beautiful chalk paint brushes. I love using that brush as well. But on this particular piece, I decided to use the trimmer brush, you know, the kind that you get to trim your trim work or your baseboards. And I really liked the way it moved in my hand, so I just stuck with it. The entire time that I was painting this piece with the Kills white chalk paint that I get from Walmart, by the way, I was thinking about this gorgeous silver metallic finish that I wanted to add on the top, and it will create this iridescent look. But guess what, guys? When I did my test run on one of the drawers, that metallic silver turned out to add a goldish pearlish finish. Now I have a pearl finish, by the way, but this wasn't supposed to be one. See it right here? Well, I lightly applied 3 coats of paint to this piece. I got a good workout doing in this project. I was standing, I was sitting, I was kneeling. So yeah, it was a very good workout. Notice the drawer is sitting on the box. You want to make sure you're protecting your back as well as your shoulders and legs this entire time. Just protect your body when you're taking on this project. That's how you're going to enjoy the process. Now once again, I'm only dipping the tip of the brush in the water. I'm not submerging it where it gets too wet. And if I feel like I've got too much water on the brush, I tap it off the brush. Just want to make sure the brush stays damp and that the paint glides on. Yes, I'm using toothpicks to keep those little tiny holes open for the tacks. Okay, it was getting ready to storm outside and I didn't want any of that moisture that could come through in the garage to affect this piece. So we had been out there a couple of days and it had sort of, rained a little bit, but now this was really going to be a big storm coming in. So here's what I decided to do. Just take the piece into the living room, put down some drop cloths and finish up the waxing process there. And this is how I did it. Just take one of those lint-free cloths, I fold it and go right into the best dang wax out there. This is, oh my God, this is really truly the best wax. I absolutely love it. It comes in dark and clear. It's by Dixie Belle. You just simply rub your cloth into it and it's soft like butter. And then you wipe it onto your piece. And guys, according to the instructions, it's 20 minutes before it is ready to be buffed and you're ready to use your furniture. And that is true because I've used it on other pieces. But this case, because I had done the stripping process, I decided to let the unit just set up shop for a couple of days before I started to basically stage it. And that's where we are right now. So this is the waxing process, and this wax goes on so easy. You just wipe it on, and my buffing process is the same exact, a lint-free cloth, and just wipe it. And because this is such a light piece, I am being very careful to make sure there aren't any strings coming from the cloth because some of it can get off there and I can clearly see everything that hits it. But yeah, I really do love this Best Dang Wax by Dixie Belle. You really should order it. I absolutely love it. Well, oh well, this can happen. Sometimes after painting or staining, you might have a drip or two that will stop the drawers from sliding in smoothly. Just give it a light sand. You can use sandpaper or a sander. I wanted to add a fresh coat of paint to the hardware, but I didn't have any silver, so I just used a marker or a Sharpie to touch up those areas where the paint had scratched off. Well, here's to shopping your home. You can always find a project to get done. And I've been wanting to do this one for a couple of years. So we've gone from gray to blue to now white. I'm so excited, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the transition. If you just simply wanted to strip the furniture down and then add a stain to it, I wanted to add that process in here so you know exactly what to do. So you can take those steps. That's fine too. Also, if you want to just do chalk paint on top of it an existing piece, that's fine too. That's what I meant to say as well. So you don't have to take the step that I did. I just had so much paint on this piece that I had to start stripping it down to make this nice smooth finish. So basically, I've shown you multiple steps that you can take to complete a piece of furniture in your home. I hope you have been inspired by something that I've shown you in this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Please like it. Please share it. Yep, I appreciate all the inspiration that I can get over here to keep going. Thanks a lot for watching. Please stay safe out there, wear a mask, and as always, stay in prayer and stay creative.